Boom, 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 boom. Bam, 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 bam. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Awesome 80s Podcast. This is Michael.
This is Lawrence. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Glenn.
Oh, what a day.
If we can bring you one episode a month, that's winning, folks, because life is happening to us, and that's what happens. Okay?
Life happened all over my face today.
So it's in my shirt. It's like around my collar. It's in my. I hate that. It's gross.
So, let's set the scene. We're podcasting. It's Thursday night, our normal time when we do podcast. We originally were going to do a different movie. Plans changed last minute. That's okay. We're flexible. We picked another movie.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It seems like the biggest complaint is people don't know what the movie is before we review.
Well, we don't know the movie is before.
I know, exactly. Yeah, we're sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys we're going to do one movie like a month ago, and then we didn't broadcast for 3 weeks, and then now we're doing it, and it's not the movie I said, because you know what? We don't know what's going on. So plans changed with the other thing. That didn't work out. That's going to come to you soon. No problem. We'll roll with it. We got our producer ready. He's going to be here. And bam, something happens in his life today, which turned out awesome here just in the last hour. But his life is set aside all day. So now, okay, we don't have any producer. That's okay. We can roll with it. Half hour before. Oh, man. Motherfucker Jones has all my equipment except for my laptop. Now I got to call him and he's got to run over here. It's a mess. But you know what? We're still here doing it for you. We did have to push the time back an hour because other things happened in my life, which means I'm also going to be drafting live over here. I'm going to be making some picks.
We're going to be bringing you a review of a film from the 80s, and Glenn is going to be picking for his fourth fantasy football league.
Fourth fantasy, yes.
Okay.
That's correct. I'm drinking out of this mule. It's copper. It's what they make pennies out of. This is a gift from my sister. It was my birthday yesterday. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you said happy birthday to me. On your birthday, I try to say happy birthday to you. I don't.
Happy birthday.
No, that's okay.
God damn it.
Hey, we got a really interesting email like a week and a half ago. Did you read that?
Yeah, do you want me to bring it up or?
No, I just want you to respond to it.
Okay. It's if you do email us, we will at least say something about it on the air. I guess we could say it's from KFL. We could keep it. They the biggest problem, because they kind of went through our review of Meatballs, and
that's pretty awesome.
Maybe it does kind of suck. And they talked about no boobs and there's no drugs. I mean, how much fun can teenagers have if there's no boobs and there's no drugs?
They basically critiqued our critique, which I thought was really cool. I was a big fan of it. So, yeah. Thank you.
And they do talk a little bit about the inappropriate touch that Bill Murray had with his eventual girlfriend at the end of the film that he leaves the camp with. And I didn't really want to bring that up because as far as Chicago sports go,
we're not doing so good right now.
Cubs are doing awesome, but everything else has rapers in the news.
All the rapers.
But it felt like Bill Murray has very, like in this movie and also in Stripes, it's kind of the Pepe Le Pew style of courting females. Just get a ball up on them. Eventually they'll give in to you, right?
That's how I do it with my wife.
They give us some good pointers, and we do appreciate all the feedback. Did you think in our fantasy football league, do you think you did out of the four fantasy football leagues? Which ones do you think you've done the best at?
I'll just focus on our league. I think I really like our team in our league. The problem is that everyone has a pretty good, decent team for the most part.
Yeah.
I looked at top to bottom. A couple injuries either here or there is going to determine this league, I think. It's an 8-person league, whereas I'm in like another one that's a 16-person league. So, like, I don't have a waiver wire of note in that league, and then our waiver wire is like everyone. So, hey, pick it up. Tom Brady in the 12th round did me some good today, huh?
Is it you that picked up Tom Brady?
Yeah, I picked him up in the 12th.
God damn it. I drafted him. I don't even have a second quarterback just because there's going to be other quarterbacks available. So
Things are happening. Oh, I see
I
a
did.
lady.
I did pick up. I did pick up. I don't know if
I'm
you looked
holding
at
the
the
trophy.
rankings. I don't know if you looked at the rankings.
Yeah, I
on this.
sent the rankings out. I looked at the rankings.
What did the rankings say, Glenn?
You got an A. Congratulations. ESPN says you got an A.
It wasn't an A, Glenn.
A plus.
It was an A plus.
You're a fucker.
I was thinking I'm not going to give this trophy back unless we have a banquet.
I know. I already talked to the rest.
And then I'm on eBay. I can show you the picture. I'm looking at this coat. It's a 44 long, and we could get like a patch and do like an insignia, and then we could pass the sport chair.
You're ridiculous. I love it. I love every second of
it. Just super excited about my team. We'll see. I got Alshon, and we'll see. I don't know if he's even going to play.
You never know.
We'll see what happens.
They're playing right now. I'm not watching it, but they're playing right now.
That's fine. That's fine. We got other stuff to worry about. This is preseason, Glenn.
How much more can I do at once? So we're going to talk about the movie My Bodyguard tonight. When's the first time you saw My Bodyguard?
I think I saw the trailer in 2008.
Are you serious? That long?
I'd never seen the movie until today.
No kidding. Wow, that's a switch. Love it.
Thanks for introducing this into my life, Glenn. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, maybe you don't want to thank me. I guess we'll do this and find out.
Okay.
So do you remember that first time we ever met and that first day we hung out and then we went like junkyard shopping together so we could rebuild your motorcycle?
Yeah, it was good times. Good times.
So this movie, a very young Matt Dillon. Let's count how many times throughout the movie I accidentally call him Matt Damon. But I got it right the first time. Matt Dillon. Not his first movie, I don't think, but very young. Because this movie was 1980, right?
Yeah. You've watched the last season of Breaking Bad, right?
I've never seen Breaking Bad.
Oh, there's a guy in it in the last season of Breaking Bad. He looks like Matt Damon. And like we watched it at work. And the whole time we're like, Tad Damon. That guy right there. Tad Damon. Yeah, he plays one of the bad guys, but it's like, yeah, Matt Dillon. He does, I mean, as far as a child actor, he does amazing work here. I mean, I think the best part of this movie, I don't want to put down anything else in the movie, but the best part of this movie is the acting. Like, every little kid in this movie is amazing.
I agree. And we'll talk about him.
Okay.
The movie begins. We got a kid with a fro. He's riding his bike through Chicago, ends up at a swanky hotel. He walks in, Maude of Harold and Maude, Ruth Gordon. She's sitting at the bar drinking, trying to rustle up some cock.
Grandma's at the bar hitting on dudes again. I was watching it. My wife came in. She's like, "Is that Maude from Harold and Maude?" I'm like, "Yep."
Yes, it is. It's Ruth Gordon. If you want a lady to be either old, drunk, or sober, but flirtatious and horny, Ruth Gordon is who you went to in 1980 or 1970 and probably 1960. She had a very long career as a whore is what I'm saying. I love Ruth Gordon, though. Everything she does. She's fantastic.
If you want to sing out, Glenn.
If you want to be free, be free.
There's a million things to be, Glenn. You know that there are.
You know that there are. Martin Mull, he's the dad. Mr. Fernwood tonight himself.
Oh, man.
Leon from the Lunchbox in Lansford, Illinois.
That's what, and Delaney's like, well, what is he into? I'm like, he's the gay guy from Roseanne. She's like, oh, yeah, I know that.
So he manages this swanky hotel that Fro Boy lives in with his dad and then his drunk grandma. We find out later his mom died in a car accident a couple years ago. This kid, he's going to a new school. A lot of 80s movies begin with the fish out of water story, and this is no different. This is probably one of the first 80s movies to do so, only because it was made in 1980. I'm just going to go on record now. So my dad used to have us watch this movie when I was a kid. And then like 4 years ago, I made my son watch it for the first time. I love this movie. It's got a very after school vibe. It's like, or a TV movie vibe. It's cut like a TV movie. The music is like a TV movie. It's not, there's cussing. There's sexual innuendo, which I guess you can get away with now, but in the 80s, you probably weren't getting away with on a TV movie. But this movie, and I don't know your opinion of it, and you can, whenever you want, you can share it. This movie just puts me in a fine mood. It's not going to change my life. It's not A lot of things don't happen in this movie. It's actually fairly slow. It's not very long, which I like when in slow movies, but it just puts me in a good mood. And I'm going to say that a lot of the people listening to this show have not seen the movie My Bodyguard. I own it on the DVDs. I think I got it for a couple bucks on Amazon. I know you can watch it on the YouTube, I've been told.
I mean, if you look, YouTube's getting a lot of movies right now, Glenn. There's a lot of movies on the YouTubes. Just saying.
Okay, well, if you have not seen this movie, it's telling me I need to pick.
Well, you make sure you make your pick, Glenn. Is it set up to automatic or not?
No, do I want Tom Brady? I'm going to take Tom Brady.
God damn it. I fucking hate you, Glenn.
Why? What happened?
I was in a fantasy baseball league, and I went out of my way not to pick Pujols. And maybe I've got honor. Maybe that's whatever, Glenn.
Tom Brady isn't a rival of the Chicago Bears.
But he's
what? What?
He does everything he can to win.
Right.
That's right.
You tell me if Tom Brady wasn't on your team.
I know. I wish I would have picked him, damn it.
Yeah, you're just mad that I had the foresight to say.
Damn, I was like, because all I remember is like where people were at on the couch. I was like, was it Glenn? Or was it, who was it that picked Tom Brady?
It was me. I picked Tom Brady. And I stand by that pick.
God damn it. I bet he's going to be awesome next week. When's the first real game against? I think it's the Steelers.
Next week. I was so afraid that the first game was this weekend, and it was in our wiffle ball tournament on Sunday. I was going to go up against it, and I was like, no, but it did not. So, this movie. Do you want to share your opinion now, or do you want to wait?
Just keep going.
Okay. He goes to school. New kid, once again, out of water, goes to a new school. He's got a fro. First class, he's got an overly sexed language teacher. She's very all about the sexy talk and the sexy stories. She being brand new. So they're in the class, and we meet little Carlson, I call him. Which then, like, at the end of the movie, I found his name was Carson, and I thought that was funny.
Okay.
I mean, he's a ginger. I know. I mean, you just got to take Deshaun Jackson, right? But who's going to throw to him? You know what? I'm doing it. I don't care. So I don't have to pick for like 20 minutes now.
Okay, good. But the ginger kid definitely did stand out to me as well. So
he's got a very deep voice. My wife's like, he's got a very deep voice.
Oh, like it feels like a little kid trying to sound like he's talking deeper.
Yeah. So we hear real quick about the boogeyman of high school, Ricky Linderman. He's the mass murderer. He's supposed to be in the class. He doesn't show up. Everyone's got a Ricky Linderman story. Was there a kid in your school like that?
I don't. Well, maybe the WT kids, the Hoosier kids.
Well, we had a kid who everyone had a story about him. Jay Offen.
Okay.
In the multimedia room, but I think we've talked about this in the earlier episodes of the show. It was confirmed he did Jay off, and he accidentally taped over The Outsiders. So when the class was watching The Outsiders, even though like 20 people were in that class, like 200 people said they were in that class.
They said they saw it. So he's Jay Owen, and he videotaped himself.
Jay Owen
over the top of Outsiders.
Over the top of The Outsiders.
I don't. Are you sure that's not an urban legend, Glenn? Like that's not every.
No, he got suspended for 10 days. I think I told this joke like in the teens episodes. Like the only joke I remember was I won't say his name, but do you remember did you hear that so and so opened up his up a new cleaners? Yeah, it's called Drop Your Pants and Jacket Off. That was the joke. Because I remember his first day back at school, and like everyone was just staring at him and laughing, and like the assistant principal was like in the hallway with him. This is junior high too. And like the assistant principal was like in the hallway, and he's just like looking at him, and he's like he like went home crying, and I was like, oh, but you did jerk off in public, like I felt bad for him, but in retrospect, he committed a felony. He didn't, he committed a felony. And got away with it with just a school suspension. I mean, the police were involved. Now he'd have to register as a sex offender if he did that. Well,
yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, I mean, all these years I felt bad for him, and it just now occurred to me he committed a felony, and he's probably lucky he didn't go to. He's not.
That is something where you figure out a different school to go to. You do not go back to that school.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So Carson, he just kind of builds up this story about this guy named Linderman, and he's just like he's super. You could tell that maybe Carson he's got like an ulcer or something. Like you could see him like almost rocking back and forth in his chair, just filled with this like anxiety. Like, oh dear God, what's gonna happen next? These bullies picking on me here, another bully's picking on me there. I play the goddamn cello.
So the other bully you mentioned is Melvin, played by Matt Dillon. He goes by Big M. Now he's changing. I'm gonna go by Big M. Later on, he's called Moody.
Mm-hmm.
Moody's what I remembered as a kid. Like I remembered that name because like the end of this movie, that scene is like always frozen in my mind, and we'll talk about it later. But it's always frozen. So anyway, right away, Fro Boy, later known as Clifford, he makes a BM joke, which just last week you and I were making BM jokes. So I thought that was pretty awesome that he made a bowel movement joke.
BM joke, yeah.
I thought it was pretty awesome. So now William Zabka's not in this movie, right?
No, but I thought one of the kids in the
poor man's William Zabka, yeah. So Big M, once again, Matt Dillon, he's got kind of a racket going on. He tells kids he's going to protect them from Ricky Linderman, the mass murderer high school student. But in reality, he's just, and if you pay him $1 a week, he'll protect you. But in reality, he's just you're paying him not for him and his gang of poor man William Zabka and poor man's Richard Belzer not to beat your ass. There's actually two poor man's Richard Belzers in this movie.
It was the glasses that changed in the light. I think that was.
There's two of those in this movie. So, yeah, basically you're paying for his gang of thugs and him not to kick your ass. So, right away, Clifford makes himself a target because he makes the BM joke at Matt Dillon's expense. He's in the bathroom. They're telling him he's got to pay him $1 a week, and he's like, "I'm not going to pay him. I won't do it." And then he ends up. What did he throw on him? Was it pit?
It looked like just toilet water.
Just toilet water. He throws toilet water on Matt Dillon, and he runs. He hides throughout the school. Eventually, his car, the hotel car service, picks him up. He hops in, and they get home. They surround his car as he escapes, but whatever. We have a nice scene now on the deck. It's a family affair. The deck of their room at the hotel. It's father, son, drunk grandma. They're all peeping Toms. They're all, it's a family affair, looking at naked girls' boobies in there. We don't see the boobies, but they're looking at boobs and butt through a telescope.
I think later on you see a girl in her like with just a shirt.
You do, yeah.
Okay, I mean I'm not that looking, but I'm looking. Right.
But at this scene, it's implied that they're seeing naked girls. They talk about it. Just father and son, just being creepy as all hell together. Martin Mull, and and this kid. What's this kid's real name?
The guy we last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Chris Makepeace.
Chris Makepeace.
We decided we're going to find his Twitter handle. It's out there somewhere.
Well, he doesn't have a Twitter handle. I've looked. But we're going to find a way to get in contact with him. Actually, our new email friend gave us a couple leads, which I'm going to follow up on this weekend. I'll have some time. It's been really busy at work, man. Just really busy. I mean, I know you just work like 1 day a week and then you're done. I put my 40 in in 3 days this week. 3 days. I'm exhausted.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You know what? That's what you got to do.
Okay. Everybody contributes to society differently, Glenn.
I know. I don't know how I do. I mean, this is probably this and making wonderful children. That's the best contributions I have. And hopefully drafting a kick-ass fantasy football.
I bet you won't get an A+, Glenn.
I probably will not.
Okay.
Because my keepers are horrible. It's my only keeper. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about this awesome movie. So, Grandma's drunk and horny. And then we find out Dad got a tip from the driver about the bullies, and he called the school. Did you ever have a bully situation where your parents got involved?
No, but it just simply, like, I was definitely feeling anxiety throughout this movie because it was, shit would go down, especially, like, in the locker rooms and stuff, and, like people would just be dicks to other people, or they'd be dicks to you.
All the time.
It's just the whole anxiety, like, thank God he's picking on that other guy. I'm gonna go. I'm getting out of here.
I have I don't want to talk about my work too much, but I have a guy who I don't. He's not my boss, but I definitely work for him, and he has a very direct style. When he's meeting with people for the first time, he basically kind of puts you on the spot and makes you sweat, so you know that feeling. And like he did it to me, and I handled it pretty well because I was prepared for it because people told me about it. But every time I'm in a meeting with him, and it's like the first time he's meeting somebody, and he's not wrong in what he's doing. He's actually very right, and he's helping people become better workers. But like I always have anxiety when like the first time we meet with someone new on the team because I know that they're about to be put through the ringer and they have no idea it's coming. And he's ultimately in the end he's helping them, but like that half hour is brutal sometimes. I'm just like, oh, I feel bad for you, but I did it. You're gonna do it. Everyone's gonna do it. But I mean, I definitely had some bully situations. Did I tell you in person? I don't remember the conversation or how far we got about taking care of my son's bully a couple weeks ago. Do we have this conversation?
Did you light poo on fire in front of his house?
No. I'll make it real short. So my son lost his phone on the bus.
Okay.
I found out because he was trying to track it and he didn't want me to know, but he accidentally tracked my phone, which emits a loud signal. So then I can't find him. So I kind of leave work freaking out. I go to find him. Anyway, this kid ends up calling me who has the phone, even though I'm literally driving, watching where my son's phone's going. So I go to the house. I offer Jose some money in exchange or as a favor, or not a favor, a reward. He doesn't take it, but then like the next week on the bus, he's really kind of giving it to Jake about it. Like, your dad owes me money, but his dad was there. So I think that's why he didn't take it. So like I went to the kid's house to give him money face to face and kind of put an end to it. I didn't say anything scary, but I definitely think I scared the kid because he like ran away. He took the money and like ran. And I felt pretty good about that. I really did. Like I can scare. My dad used to always like, if I had a problem, I grew up initially in a rougher area than this. So my dad, when I was growing up, my dad like a couple times like kind of scared the crap out of kids who were messing with me.
That's good.
So I don't know. I kind of have an affinity for that, like.
Well, but here, Martin Mull, he calls the vice principal or whatever. Do you think he should have gone down to the school himself?
No, I don't think Martin Mull. Not in this. No.
Not in this movie.
No, it doesn't fit the character.
Well, what I really liked, it was like parents. The words of fresh parents. Parents just don't understand.
They really don't.
It was like, I mean, sometimes it felt like the Wild West to a certain extent. It's like no matter what parents did, it had no effect on what the dynamic or the result of anything that happened with children. Do you know what I'm saying? And it felt like in this movie, it was kind of a snapshot of that.
Yeah. So he talks to the principal. The principal suspends or gives a week detention to him. But then the principal kind of like, don't cry wolf all the time, man. Like, just let it go. Be a man.
This is the streets. I know you're in this prep school, and now you're in the public school here in Chicago, and I'm sure you're going to get great education.
Yeah, he really did kind of diss the school a little. So,
but what I did really like about Chris Makepeace is that he did stand up for himself. He threw piss water at the bullies, and then he went after the bullies. They were in that restaurant that is like a little snack shop next to school, and he threw food and ketchup and mustard and milkshakes at the bullies. He wasn't afraid to stand up to them.
Yeah, not only did he do that, but he also, and he made the jokes, and he basically did everything he needed to do. And so I guess, you kind of gave some, so let's move on. Linderman comes to class, freaks out baby Carlson.
A hush among the students.
Dylan elbows the fro in the hall. Then the fro goes after locker, goes in there. He gets elbowed in basketball. He goes into his locker. It's filled with garbage.
Did you play dirty? You played dirty basketball?
A little bit.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like sometimes people take that shit way too serious.
Oh, I didn't. Well, there's one guy who really, me and him used to go back and forth.
Okay.
JMW.
Okay.
He and I used to chain some elbows.
Okay. I could see him doing that.
So, he tries, he goes to the bathroom does Clifford. He's hiding in the stall. He thinks he gets away with it, but there's poor man. There's Richard Belzer. There's and there is Big M.
Yep.
They think they got away with it, but then Linderman gets up after shitting, taking a poo, and everyone runs except for Clifford because he doesn't know any better. He tracks Linderman down. He says, I want you to be my bodyguard. I'll pay you. I'll do your homework. But Linderman's not interested in anything like that.
And Linderman is played by Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin. If you don't know who Adam Baldwin is, he's not one of the Baldwins, but if you look him up, he's been in a lot of things. Chuck was my favorite thing he did. He was in the series Chuck.
To me, he was in the Firefly series, and he was also in the DC Cab.
Oh, this is his first movie. I believe Firefly is a favorite of M.F. Jones, so
yeah,
I'm sure if I would have said that, maybe M.F. Jones would have wanted to.
His name is a Baldwin, but he looks like. Do you think he could? This year, this year, we're going to have somebody new play Batman.
Affleck.
Ben Affleck, but it seems like he could be like he could be an extra Affleck brother. He kind of looks like an older Affleck brother.
I could see that.
Maybe it's just me. Fine, it's just me. Fine.
No, I could see it. I mean, he's suspended for 4 games. I'm going to draft him, though.
He has got a pretty sweet. I'm talking about Mr. Linderman. He's got a pretty sweet Army jacket. And if it's 1980 and you want to be badass, you wear a sweet Army jacket. And I did also want to talk about there's all those there's a lot of memes and pictures and stuff online where they show current people dressing like it's the 1980s and no, and then you have pictures of what people would really like dressed in the 1980s, and it was kind of cool to see a snapshot of what in this film what people really were dressed like in the 1980s. Because when I go, I was thinking, I remember when I was a little kid, wore a lot of corduroy, or had some velour pullover sweaters. It's super uncomfortable.
So, there's a backstory where there's this jerky hotel manager, also a creepy Richard Belzer, Griffith. And he's trying to get the dad fired because of the drunk grandma. We'll come back to it later. I'm just laying the groundwork that there's a backstory there. So classic 80s scene, the lunchroom trip, the tray full of food. That's what Big M does to Clifford. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm sorry. Then there's a little scene where all the kids are on a boat with Clifford, and they're this is what Linderman did. He raped a teacher. He killed a police officer. He broke another teacher's leg.
He kicked somebody in the eye. They broke their eye socket. He shot his brother.
And then all of a sudden, there we go. Joan freaking Cusack out of nowhere. There she is. First movie. Chicago movie.
She was kind of awkward, and she was an awkward stage in this.
Oh, she's still not in an awkward stage. I mean, I love Joan Cusack. I'm just. And then we get to see Clifford in a Speedo.
Yeah, it's one of his. I guess they got a pool in this. Still, I noticed he swam through the water, but still his hair wasn't wet all the way.
So they have a pool. They have a lake with rowboats. Yeah, this is Chicago Public School.
Well, it
was a real Chicago high school.
I'm pretty sure that was Lincoln Park Zoo. It was the park right next to it. It was you're walking. There's a scene where they walk out of the zoo and they're literally at the lake.
Oh, okay.
That boathouse in Lincoln Park.
Okay. What the shit?
That's the shit. I kicked the thing under the desk.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Life's happening. Life's messy. We talked about it. It's ears in your eyes and up your nose.
So here comes the problem for Matt Dillon is Clifford's not paying him, and now other people are caught wind, and they don't want to pay him either.
Yeah. So at this point, he's kind of over a barrel, and he has to put Linderman on the spot and say, "Hey, I need you as my bodyguard. You're going to be my bodyguard."
Yeah. So, Clifford gets thrown in the locker.
Yeah.
Linderman opens the locker, and Clifford just starts cussing him out. So, cut the next scene, star wipe. Next scene, they're all at a cafeteria type thing, and
He gets stripped. There's crap everywhere. Everyone thinks it's hilarious.
Well, no, that was earlier.
Okay, that's right.
This is where he walks in, just walks straight in, picks up the ketchup and food, and just throws it all over Matt Dillon and his gang. And they chase him out into the street. We're in an abandoned alley. They got him surrounded. Everyone's like watching it.
There's like a pile of rubble. There's like a jagged rebar poking out. There's like an abandoned car that's on fire. I'm just trying to paint the scene for everybody.
So as all of this is happening, out from this rubble steps Linderman.
To save the day.
Saves the day. Matt Dillon's gang is scared. They take off. They kind of leave him there. Basically, everyone just tells Matt Dillon what for. They ain't paying him no more. So that's it. He introduced him as his bodyguard. Little Carlson flicks him off. Moody does the walk of shame. And as Linderman's walking away, Clifford's really excited. He's got all this adrenaline. He's like, yeah, we did it, man. We took down the establishment. We're awesome. And this and that. And you could tell, right, Linderman didn't want any of it. Like, he felt like he just felt like he should help Clifford. Like, he didn't know why. But when it came down to it, like, he didn't want to be that guy. Like, he just kind of did it once as a one-off. But then, like, kind of basically told Clifford to get lost.
You kind of felt like he had baggage, you know?
So at this point, Linderman walks away. Clifford's just kind of dumbfounded. We see some 1980s cheerleaders. That's interesting. Clifford's going to go talk to the sexed up English teacher.
He's just sitting in the auditorium. The cheerleaders are practicing their thing, and he's the only kid in the auditorium watching the cheerleaders practice. So
Linderman goes to talk to the sexed up. Clifford goes to talk to the sexed up English teacher, also the cheerleader lady. And he finds out that Linderman had a younger brother who accidentally shot himself, and Linderman walked in on him, found his dead body, and has been just really jacked up ever since. So he basically disappeared for a year, and that's when all the stories about him came to. And that's that. So Clifford's like, I'm going to follow him. And so he tells his driver, the hotel driver, to follow him. He ends up not being able to because all those pesky one-way streets in Chicago.
God damn it. There's a lot of goddamn one-way streets in Chicago.
There is a lot of goddamn one-way streets in Chicago. So Clifford just gets out and he follows him. He ends up like basically just pestering him enough to where he's just like, Linderman's just like, just get away. I don't want anything to do with you. And Clifford's just like, that's great, but how do I get home?
Yeah, I am lost.
Yeah. Like, he was in like the white poor area of Chicago. If you can point me to that, that's fine. But I guess in 1980 things were different.
But he got out of the car of his driver, dropped him off in this area, and he's like, the cops don't even stop here at night.
Yeah. So, right when like he's like, how do I get home? Like Linderman gave him this aw shucks like smile, like, oh. So he's like, come with me, kid. Gives no.
Yeah.
He shows him the bike. He only needs one more part. Just one carburetor. Was it carburetor? Cylinder.
Cylinder.
Yeah,
I guess it's time for a montage, Glenn.
Montage. If you're gonna do a montage in this movie, it should be in a junkyard where every scene they progressively have more dirt all over them. Because that's what happens in a junkyard. Dirt just flocks to you.
But he's just like picking up stuff like, this work? Will this work?
Oh, he always looked for the holes. He needed a 2-hole one. So
yeah.
I mean, hey, sometimes you're lucky and you find a 3-hole one.
Okay, exactly.
So he gets they're walking, they're talking, and they're telling a little about each other. That's where, as I mentioned earlier, Clifford reveals his mom died. The brother is only touched upon briefly You know, Linderman's an onion. You know what that means?
You gotta peel the layers, Glenn.
Peel the layers. I didn't mean that his booty made you cry.
Okay.
I meant, yeah.
Oh, girl.
Oh, girl. That's an onion booty. Oh, strawberry lemonade. So, sorry.
Okay.
I just do it to myself sometimes.
Okay.
I make jokes to myself. So, they kind of bond. At this point, Clifford said something about his grandma I thought was really profound. And actually, I kind of think it's one of my favorite points of the movie, and I've never picked up on it before. He said, my grandma, she's just not afraid of being alive, or she's afraid of not being alive.
Yeah, she's not afraid of dying. She's just not afraid to live.
Right. And I think that's kind of the motto for this movie, but you don't hear it like throughout the movie. That motto, that really impressed me.
And it kind of carryovers, like, especially when you think of her as Maud too, you're like, that is who Maud is. Like the character from previous.
Are we talking about B. Arthur?
No. But it felt like that she, like, at this point in her career, the lady who played Maud, who the hell played Maud?
Ruth Gordon.
You're like, why wasn't she in everything? You know? Like, just find a part for her to be in your film.
I concur.
So I mean, they go on. They kind of let Linderman into their gang, like, because there's Carson and then there's Clifford. They rowboats together.
Well,
and then,
I don't think they let him into their gang. I think he is the gang.
Yeah. Hey, we got Linderman, so we can hang out together. And Joan Cusack shows up, and they hang out at the park together. They go rowing together.
Hold on. First, Clifford found the part.
Oh yes.
And then let's wrap up real quick the hotel story. So Griffith, the bad hotel guy, brings in the boss to try to get him fired, and turns out the boss is gonna bang grandma, and everyone loves it. But then Ruth Gordon, once again being awesome, she's gonna do a palm reading because she really wants Linderman. You know, Ruth Gordon just in general reminds me of a person who Lost Souls would gravitate to. And that's kind of the role she plays. And she could see he's a lost soul, so she's doing a palm reading. You see he's got marks on his wrists, with usually consistent with attempted suicide. And she won't let him go. Like, he's trying to pull away, and she won't let him, which I thought was awesome. And sometimes I read more things into movies like than they should be. But I really think there's so many subtle things, especially with grandma in this movie, that like push the story forward. And that to me pushed the story forward. Like, she wouldn't let him go, and she's like telling him he has a long lifeline. And I think really made him like feel at home, like feel comfort. And I don't think the character, was like, you're supposed to feel like he hasn't felt comfort in years. He's just kind of tortured, especially since his brother died. So that was kind of good. And now we get to the scene you were describing. Oh, Martin Mull ends up getting to fire Griffin, which was pretty awesome. And we also find out in these scenes that he's not only banging a stewardess, but George Wendt is his like air conditioner repairman. Made nothing in the movie. Like no sense. You could tell there was not a cut scene where George Wendt's role made any sense. But this is 1980 George Wendt. This is when he is SCTV. Or no, not SCTV. This is Second City. So George Wendt in 1980 was a Second City regular. You know, so this was just him like just getting a gig to pay next week's rent. You know,
in the end of the movie, they had special thanks to Second City. So I'm thinking they probably had a couple of other different Second City people in there as well. But I thought it was just like, I imagine like a meeting between Martin Mull and the producer, and he's like, "Can we write a scene where they let people know I'm not gay? You know, I need to let people know that I'm banging chicks."
This is Martin Mull off of Fernwood Tonight. Everyone knew he was banging chicks. This is like straight out of Fernwood.
He's like, "Whoa, we can put George Wendt in here, and everyone will know." You're banging chicks with it. You're banging that stewardess.
So, the importance of this scene wrapping up the hotel part of the story, and I found it very interesting that they did it when they did, was they're basically saying, all we have left now is the money shot.
Yeah.
And, you know, everything, we had a side story. It was cute, but we've wrapped it up. Mm-hmm. So now everything else, and that's just what I took out of it, maybe because I've seen the movie before, but I wanted to get to that end point, that final standoff. And so when this wraps up, to me, that's like, okay, end of Act 2, now begin to Act 3. So beginning of Act 3, you were describing the scene. I'll let you continue because I interrupted you earlier at the park.
Yeah, they're at the park. They're best friends. Okay. They're at the park. They're best friends. They're eating together. They're hanging out together. You kind of feel like it's a moment. You kind of feel like it's a moment where Linderman kind of feels like a normal kid again instead of like this outcast bully. And then earlier in the film, when they're riding the motorcycles together, like him and Clifford, the Afro kid, they both take turns. I mean, they both take turns driving, and another one takes turns riding. It's a metaphor for the whole relationship, Glenn.
That it is.
And then so Moody, he gets his friend Sanchez. I don't know. What's his name?
Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Angry Mike. Mean Mike. Mean Mike.
He gets Mean Mike, and he picks him to go beat the shit out of Linderman. And Linderman's not – he's like, I'm done with that. I've had my lifeline read. I've got a full life ahead of me. I don't need to fight you.
Yeah, so – what was the significance of him walking away? Was that it to you? Was it like he's just like?
I guess the movie is trying to say it's better to stand up for yourself, but to him, he was still because I don't think he hit anyone in the entire movie until the very end of the movie. Linderman didn't.
So let me ask you this, and I want to get a little deep because I love this movie so much, and I hope that people listen to this and say, hey, you know what, I do want to see this movie because I really think it's worth your time. And maybe I'm reading too much into it. Do you think before he met Clifford and his family, he would have just fought because he didn't care about anything, or do you think he just was always passive? Because I'm torn. I don't know the answer to that.
Part of me thinks if he was pushed to fight, he would have fought. But in reality, he didn't really want to fight at all. Like maybe he was like
pushed him to fight.
Yeah, well, he's going through life with no emotion. There's no highs, there's no lows. He's just, he's just cruising. He doesn't even know. I mean, he's the kind of guy that's not smiling and he's not crying. Right.
Do you think, in some small way, that Bender from the Breakfast Club, or not Bender, that's the principal. John Bender. I'm right.
2 months. 2 months, Bender.
Right.
As the bull, you get the horn.
Do you think that he's in some way Linderman?
He's got an awesome
an amped
jacket.
up version.
He's got an awesome jacket.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just an archetype, which is like the loner coming from a bad background. Just doesn't care, doesn't want you to think he cares. So I guess that's just an archetype.
Well, it kind of felt like at the end of the movie when they have the second fight, it felt like they finally had something to fight for. Like, I've got friends.
Okay. So at this point, maybe he wasn't really feeling it all too as much. Okay.
Yeah. He was just
I'm on board.
He was just numb, and then he actually has emotions later after the first fight. He gets his bike thrown into the lake at Lincoln Park, and he has emotions. He bears his soul to Clifford and says, "You know what? My brother didn't accidentally shoot." Whoa.
Oh. Let's wrap up the park. So
Okay.
basically, Mean Mike beats the crap out of him, destroys his bike. Moody ends up throwing the bike in the lake, and Linderman literally runs away. Literally just gets up and goes.
They hit me.
He didn't do that.
No, but yeah.
But he literally just runs full speed away.
I've done that.
Mike just kind of laughs at him. Clifford's like in disbelief. Like, to him, Linderman's a hero, and now he's gone. So he's kind of in disbelief about the whole thing. He decides to go try to find him. He goes to the bike shop. He goes to his parents' house, and we see his mom briefly, who's seemed like a very concerned parent. Like, it didn't seem like he was neglected, because she honestly generally seemed to care, and they didn't give her enough backstory as being a horrible person to think that she was just a horrible person. So he can't find him. Clifford finally goes home. Linderman's waiting on his balcony of the hotel. He just wants money. He takes the $6. He leaves down the fire escape. Clifford attempts to go down the fire escape to catch him. Do places still have fire escapes? No one talks about the fire. The fire escape was such a pivotal role in 80s movies. Are there still fire escapes? What's the deal?
I think some of the old buildings do. In our downtown, they've got some.
Right. Well, yeah, I work
mostly internal. Like they've got internal stairs that are better internal stairs now,
Okay.
specifically for fire escapes.
Okay. I mean, not that this is right up your alley, but it's right up your alley.
Yeah.
And usually fire escapes go into an alley, so bam.
Yeah.
So eventually Clifford's running full steam, trying to catch up with him. Eventually he does, and that's where Linderman, they're on the subway platform, the L, and that's where Linderman kind of gets into what you were just referring to. He says that he lied to everyone. He was there playing with the gun. His brother tried to grab it and it went off and it shot him. And his brother didn't even realize he was shot. And like he felt like a pussy basically, or a wimp, because he never owned up to it. Like he just left the gun there and then like said he found his brother that way. Which, I mean, there's a lot of gun stuff going on in the world, and I don't really want to focus on it because then I'll either get mad or I'll cry or something, and that's just stupid. But that would mess you up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like that's unheard of. That happens more often than I care to think about. But that would totally mess you up. Like, I think, and this is one of the things I think I like about this movie is, I think if this movie was made now, it wouldn't have the balls to like do something like that or to get deep into something like that. I think if this movie was made now, it would be something like so superficial and not serious at all. Whereas this movie just is like, hey, we're going to make a decent watchable movie, but we're definitely going to throw like some heavy shit at you. And if you actually, you can either do two things when you're watching this movie. You can just like let it just watch the movie and let it pass you by. Or you can really get kind of involved and like think about some of the stuff they're saying. When you do, it's kind of heavy in a way. I don't know if you agree or.
Yeah, I felt like if they made it today, it'd be very movie of the weekish. But I mean, this movie itself is kind of movie of the weekish, but it has the real moments where there's kids giving other kids the finger. There's kids,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like I want those real moments, like in the Bad News Bears. There's those real moments.
The original Bad
News Bears, and then like in Stand by Me, there's those real moments. Like, and everyone like that. I mean, to me, that's the best kid acting in an '80s movie is Stand by Me. But this one actually has pretty good child acting as well.
Since we're the 80s podcast, we've done 200, say, I don't know, 40, 50 episodes. I don't know where we're at.
Whatever.
We've watched a lot of fucking 80s movies.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you think as the decade went on, these movies with heart became less and less, and movies started just becoming a parody of these type of movies? Like, do you think the 80s became a parody of itself by the time it ended?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we had, like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then after that we had Mighty Ducks, and then after that you had, like...
Or Johnny Be Good. I mean, we can go earlier.
And Johnny Be Good, where it's I'm going to laugh at who I was before. We're going to poke fun of the early 80s. You know.
Yeah. And here's the thing is when you say an 80s movie, you typically think of those movies that are kind of poking fun at these movies.
Yeah.
But I think that these movies get lost in the shuffle, which is actually when we first started this podcast, and I don't know why I'm deep tonight. I don't know. It's just like you said, life happened this week, and I just want to talk about it. So when we first started this podcast, we said we don't want to do John Hughes movies. We're going to be the 80s show, but we're going to be 8 years or 7 years ago, we're going to be the 80s podcast, the only 80s podcast at the time, apparently. But we're going to be the 80s podcast that doesn't do the John Hughes movies. But then, like, episode 4, John Hughes dies. I'm like, oh, why wouldn't we do the John Hughes movies? You just got to just show the trophy? I mean, is it a penis thing?
I'm just throwing it out there, Glenn.
Oh, because you heard my thing? You just heard my...
Well, whatever. It's no problem. I mean, it's technically my trophy until the end of the season, so
it could be your trophy again.
Well, maybe. I'm sorry. Well, maybe if I'm out of the playoffs, I'll drop it off somewhere. That way they can have it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, we can't have it until the.
Oh yeah, we gotta have the banquet where it's presented. I got gloves with my uniform. We've got white gloves for my dress uniform. I'll bring him my white gloves and I'll hand it to the next guy. What if I win? Can I hand it to myself? Can everyone clap for me when I hand it to myself when I win 2 years in a row?
I'll hand it to you.
All right, thanks, Glenn.
I'll have to wear your white gloves.
Okay. But but yeah, this movie, it's pretty deep. It's pretty slow in a lot of parts. I don't know if a kid today could sit through and watch it. It feels like it drags a lot, but it is only an hour and a half. So I mean, honestly, this seems like something you'd show like a sixth grade class. Like if you're sixth grade or older, like sixth or seventh grade, like emotionally, you can handle it.
I think I first showed Jake. He was like third or fourth grade, and he liked it. And then tonight, he's like, "Oh, I remember this movie." And he watched it, the whole thing, and then I don't think it's something. Well, the first thing he said was, "How do I know that kid?" And I'm like, "That's the kid from Meatballs." And he goes, "Oh yeah." And then he kind of backed off his stance a little. He goes, "Well, I don't think it was horrible. I just didn't think it had a good story." And I'm like, "Yeah, it was horrible." Anyway, we'll talk about the end. So, back to the movie. So he tells him this deep stuff. He's the one who killed his brother, blah, blah. Clifford's just like, it wasn't your fault. You didn't mean to. They just kind of go their separate ways. So Clifford is back at the park. He's with Baby Carlson. He's with Joan Cusack, another dame. And he sees Linderman getting the bike out of the lake. So he kind of runs down to see him. And here comes Moody. And then Big Mike comes down.
Yeah.
Oh, Bears beat the Browns 24-0.
24-0?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jay Cutler didn't even play, so whatever.
Poor Cleveland.
Yeah. So, he comes over. Big Mike comes over. Mean Mike, Bad Mike. I don't remember his name. Kind of gives him some shit, and then Linderman just like attacks him, just kicks the fucking shit out of him. But then Mean Mike gets the advantage, and he's beating him for a little while, and then Linderman gets that hero urge, and then just basically beats him to a pulp right there in a public park in Chicago, which is about right?
But then Matt Dillon comes over, and he gets the advantage for Big Mike.
Yeah. And then Clifford chokes him the fuck out, like he puts him in a Tasmission.
Yes.
Cosmetate.
If that's what you know.
Cosmetate. Cosmetate.
Exactly, Glenn. Shut up. But yeah, it felt like their fight.
God, he's in a Cosmetate.
So the Linderman, they stopped their fight just to watch the Afro Kid and Matt Dillon fight.
No.
Were they done with their fight?
Yeah. Linderman knocks out Mean Mike.
Okay.
You just got knocked the fuck out. Knocks him out. And then he knocks him out, and then he starts watching the other fight. So Mean Mike's on the ground, like spitting up dirt.
Hey, Glenn, did you ever have Friday on Laserdisc?
Yeah. Oh, I have two late. So we'll talk off here. I have two Laserdiscs for you that were donated by a listener. Thank you, Vicky. She gave them to me to MF Jones.
Oh, cool.
Because I haven't seen her, and then he gave them to me. And now I'm going to give them to you on Sunday.
All right, thank you.
I forgot to give them to you when you were at my house last week because they were in my work bag, and I put my work bag away till Monday morning. But I'm going to take them out of my work bag, and then I'll give them to you on Sunday.
Okay. So one of the reasons, I guess, part of the reason why we have podcasts in a while is because you came to my house for my soft opening.
It was incredible. If you're friends with us on either one of us on the FB. Personal Facebook friends, and some of these listeners have friended me, and I'll friend you back, Derek M. Friend you back, KC. And you got to hang out with KC, which was awesome.
When we did the wrestling, it was good.
Yeah. Well, I gotta find out if Casey's playing wiffle ball. Haven't heard from him.
Yeah. So I thought he said he was going to be on a trip, but he came to my house. I built. I guess I built the outfield wall.
You built a wiffle ball field, like. We used to watch YouTube videos of like people who built wiffle ball fields, and you used to like send them to me all the time. Look at this, look at that. You did your own. It's incredible.
So I'd say it's like 50% a wooden wall and like 50% chain link fence. And in the left field, I've got a mini like green monster. It's like 10
with
feet.
With a scoreboard built in.
With a scoreboard built in. It's like 16 feet long, 10 feet high. And in the right field, it's probably 14 feet long, but only 6 feet tall. But I've got a first one sign. It's a Firestone sign where I'm missing an E. I've got that over the wall in right field.
My dad's on it.
Okay, well, we'll get there. I'm super excited. That was just my soft opening, but the real game is this Sunday for the big trophy.
our big trophy. You want to ask if it's engraved. I know it. You've been not said it.
I didn't say a word. I
know you didn't. I actually kind of wish you would have. But I'm always like, when he showed up this year, anyway, it's at the engraver as we speak. It will be picked up before Sunday.
So you're taking it tomorrow is what you're telling me.
No, I already took it. I took
it. Okay. Oh, shit. I got a podcast tonight. Michael.
Okay. It's been in my car to take since Tuesday. But then each night I say I'm going to leave my work at 4. At 6, they're closed and I'm leaving work. It's been a week. So today I was supposed to leave at 3:30, but then at 1, I'm like, I'm not leaving at 3:30. I know better. So I ran it over there, and then they guaranteed me I'm out of town on Saturday. They said I could probably pick it up tomorrow before I leave town, but if not, I have backup on Saturday to pick it up. Okay. I've gone through all of the steps because Lord help me if I don't have this thing engraved. But trust me, I felt the pressure all week. Every time I looked in my car, it was just staring at me like, do you want to deal with the shit if you don't get me done? And I'm like, but I got to work. I got to feed my family. It's like, I don't care. Michael's wrath is upon you.
The dog needs dog food. Michael's going to be saying shit. It's not engraved. So
Lisa needs braces. Dental plan. Lisa needs braces. That's how I felt all week.
But yeah, there's so back to the movie. There's a super happy ending movie, and you can feel like that big Afro kid, he made a friend at his new school, and they're gonna be friends for a long time.
Right. So basically, Linderman knocks his guy out. Clifford and Moody are fighting. Matt Dillon's beating up Clifford. Linderman's just like, dude, he's his corner guy. He's like, hey man, hit him in the nose. Hit him in the nose. He hits him in the nose a couple times. Knocks him the fuck out, breaks his nose. And this was in the side. I don't know if you saw this. Matt Dillon is walking towards his friends, and his gang's like, dude, we don't want to hang out. And, you can hear it in the background slightly. They leave, and he goes to hug one of the girls. She goes, ew, get away from me. And I was like, that's awesome. And then at the end and this is the part I always remember. There's 2 things about this movie I always remembered from my childhood, which was the bike, him pushing the bike out of the lake, and then them walking at the end and Linderman offering him money to be his bodyguard. And the way this movie affected me was so I saw it when I was really little, before I knew what a bully was and anything like that. But throughout junior high and high school, definitely bullied. I think everyone was. I think even the bullies were bullied. It's just one of those. It's a circular thing.
I think everyone was unhappy, and
everyone was unhappy.
Yeah, and everyone thought everyone else was happy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I agree. And so yeah, exactly. That's just how it goes. But I think I felt better about things because of this movie, because I saw this movie at such a young age. And I always would think back to this movie I could maybe punch him out. I couldn't, and I never tried. But in your mind somewhere, there's this happy place, and you're like, I could do that. So I strongly recommend this movie to anyone who hasn't seen it. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to be the most exciting movie you've ever watched. But it's, to me, one of the top to bottom, one of the great 80s movies that there is. And I did not know you've never seen it, so I'm glad that you watched it. I really am. So your final thoughts on it?
I think it's a good movie. It's a great example of good kid acting, because it's I just named 3 movies with good kid acting, and I think those are probably the only 3 that I've seen in my life. It's other than Hollywood kid actors, Nickelodeon, Disney kid actors, and it all seems so fake. It all seems so contrived. But this, freaking Bad News Bears, I think those movies, Stand By Me, those movies, they've got good actors. They've got people in real situations. They create real emotions. You can see it in their eyes. They're good actors. And I think maybe the editing, but other than that, this movie still stands up, I think. And I did want to mention something that another thing that Carson said, because everything pretty much out of his mind was a comedy relief. And he talked about how the bullies.
Baby Carlson.
Yeah, and the whole one of the quotes that he had was the bullies were calling my mom's names that I never even heard of before. I thought that was pretty good. Do you have any top dats for this week?
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners, and he's one of our very loyal listeners. He's had a really rough couple weeks. When we talk about life happens, but our D Rose, we've mentioned him many times. Dave, thank you so much for listening. You've been in my thoughts and prayers for the last couple of weeks, and everything you're going through, keep on keeping on. So if you need anything, let us know. And what?
Doiner as well, his mom.
Yes, Doiner, most certainly. And we've shared it, and people have liked it, and I've seen people from our page share it. Keep sharing it. I'll let you explain, but keep sharing it.
So Doiner's doing this thing through the Drunken Zombie podcast where you can go get these, you download these songs or whatever, and he's trying to get money to raise for his mom's. I mean, everyone goes to hospital, and the hospitals fucking suck. And it's just, they suck, and then you got to go home and deal with the freaking bills, and it all just sucks. If you want to just click on the link, you can read all about it. It's on our Facebook page. Do you have any top stats?
Yeah, well, you talked about Wet Hot American Summer a few weeks ago, and I don't think we've done an episode since I watched it. Okay. Wow, what an experience! So,
dude,
so good. I watched it all in one day, and then I watched the movie.
There's this gap, like in Arrested Development, when you first watch the new season, you're like, this is good, and I watched it again, like, okay, it's better, it's good. But then, like, this Wet Hot American Summer, there's a gap between the movie and then this series on Netflix, and you're like, this is better than the movie. This is 10 times better than the movie.
So I watched the whole series in one day, unplanned. Just was like 1 o'clock, like noon on a Saturday. I was like, oh, I'll watch the first episode. I didn't end until I rewatched the movie. My wife came in about halfway through the series. I think I mentioned, like, I didn't think she'd be a fan. She just came in, just started watching. She was laughing. Like, I didn't expect her to laugh that hard, but she was enjoying it. And then she had never seen the movie. I hadn't seen the movie in a long time. And then I love the movie so much more because of the series now. Like, the first couple times I watched, I was like, it's okay. I love the movie a lot more because you get so much more out of it. Yeah. And there's so much room. I mean, literally, there's a whole series just about the first day of camp. The movie's about the last day of camp. They have unlimited space and very talented writers. I can't wait to see what they do with it.
They got to do, like, a sequel. I
believe that's happening.
Like, because in the movie, they talk about the 10 years later. And they actually have, like, a scene at the end of the credits. Because after I got done watching the series, I watched the documentary on Netflix, and then I rewatched the movie again. And I could see them maybe doing a 10 years later series, or maybe the day after the beginning of the next year's camp. I think they could probably do 2 or 3 more seasons, and it not getting old on Netflix.
I agree, and I mean the jokes, everything.
On my top did you see the To-Do List with Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah, I talked about it, I think, on this.
It's pretty awesome. But there's another movie about lifeguards that's on Netflix also called Staten Island Summer. Have you seen anything about this? It's pretty awesome. It has a best friend, Zach Perlman. He's a redheaded best friend. It's all about these kids and these lifeguards and their misadventures being lifeguards at a community pool, very much like the To-Do List. I think I don't want to compare it to the To-Do List because they're two different animals, but it's like, you can watch them back to back. I think the To-Do List is a little bit better, but it's still a lot of fun. It's got Cicely Strong in it. It's got Bobby Moynihan. It's got Fred Armisen, Will Forte, and from the Miss Ghostbusters film, it's got Kate McKinnon, and her character, she is like in 4 scenes. And in this movie, the Staten Island Summer, every scene, I'm just laughing my ass off. I'm like, thank God she's in Ghostbusters. I think she's going to knock it out of the park. I think she's hilarious. And one thing I did want to see, but I haven't seen yet on IFC, is the documentary Now with Fred Armisen and Bill Hader.
So we watched the first episode last week, and it was very interesting. I think this is going to be a show where it depends on the topic. The first episode was funny. I don't think the topic led to a lot of greatness, but I think there's going to be some episodes are just going to be so blown away that you're just like, holy shit, that was the best thing I ever saw. And then some episodes you're like, well, that was funny, but it is what it is. You know, like, I laughed at the first episode a few times, but I think that there's some episodes you just see clips of it. The subject matter is going to be so much better, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it's kind of parallel to Drunk History a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Another Period, the show on on Comedy Central too.
I'm so upset that it's over for the season.
Yeah, but it feels like, I mean, there's a million things people can do, and it's all funny. It's just different. If it's funny to you, more funny to you than other things. So.
Have you seen every episode of that?
I think I've just seen one episode.
Oh, I watched the first episode and I was hooked. And every single week, I could not wait till Tuesday night because I'd watch it usually Thursday or Friday. I love Another Period. Season just ended last week, and I'm already like this Tuesday night. Like I was up a little later and I went to click on it. And I was like, oh, there's no Another Period. Like I was so sad about it, but it is what it is. So it was a good show. I can't wait for season 2. It's just one of those shows that every week they did like outrageous, funny things, and it made you laugh, and it made you cry, and it made you turned on. Turned on,
maybe a little bit.
A little bit. I mean,
and it's got Ricky from
Ricky Lindholm and Tasha Leggero.
But Ricky's from Garfunkel and Oates.
Garfunkel and Oates, and then it also had a lot of other actors and actresses who show up. Christina Hendricks from Mad Men.
Yep.
Cher. She plays the role of Cher. The cast, top to bottom, was great, and then they added new people each week, and phenomenal. So Ben Stiller, I think, was on it. He's on everything.
Yeah. So overall, yeah, well, we don't want to take up too much of your day. Thanks for listening, everybody. Will you have anything else to talk about, Glenn?
No, I mean, I could talk all night, but I think we're good. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Wait, hold on. Talk.
Hello.
Do you have a spit shield? You got a spit shield?
Yeah, I want to take it to a new level. Got to take this thing to a new level, Glenn. There's a wiffle ball game on Sunday, and I took BP yesterday. I didn't take any today, but I'll take some tomorrow. So.
Well, Jake's playing, so
okay.
That's gonna be yeah. We'll talk about it. But anyway.
Okay.
Thank you guys for listening. Sorry it's been so long. Shout out to Bobby Joe. She will be our guest host. Hopefully our next episode. Hopefully, if the worlds align, which will be Heather's. We hope to bring that to you next week. If that doesn't work out, another fine movie will come and will surprise both us and you. And that's just what we do. We do what we do. Thank you guys for listening. We love you. Stay awesome.
Thanks again, everybody. Stay awesome.
Go home.
Go. You're still here? You're still here?
You're still here?